Welcome to the Marshall Pruitt Podcast, presented by Cooper Tires and supported by PNC Bank. I am extra giddy right now. I have a big old smile on my face, and I have ever since. Little box that showed up today from my friends at Core Autosport, those behind the Porsche GT Team, the factory Porsche GT Le Mans effort in IMSA's WeatherTech SportsCar Championship. Tried earlier this year at Mid-Ohio to capture some in-car sounds of the best-sounding race car in action today on the planet Earth, that being the almighty flat six-powered Porsche 911 RSR. And we've actually recorded this before. The recording came at what is now WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca in 2017, and the recorder was in the cockpit. And as we found, listening to this amazing machine outside, the experience was, I don't know if muffled's the right way to put it, but the in-car sounds being forward where the driver sits, they weren't bad. It just wasn't as screamy and wailing and as amazing as the 911 RSRs to hear in person. So we tried at Mid-Ohio to get my recorder as close as possible to the exhaust outlets, and because the car is so loud and so amazing and has so much force, so much energy going through the exhaust, although we turned the recording volume, the recording input, down to almost zero, so essentially you'd have to fire a cannon for it just to even barely register during the recording, it blew the darn thing out. It essentially killed my little audio recorder, so I went and bought a bigger, beefier one with a higher, we'll just call it pain threshold, and this is a wonderful pain, not a negative pain, but something bigger that could withstand the crazy force and fury. And we're looking for where could we record next, and thankfully, very thankfully to the team, Chief Mechanic Phil Reinhardt on the number 912, shared by Earl Bamber and Lawrence Vanthoor, we said, okay, what's a great place where we can really hear this motor sing and scream and downshift and accelerate and go over bumps and curbs, and where can we hear this motor just delivering everything that makes it the best? And we chose VIR, Virginia International Raceway. And so while I wasn't able to be there, I was busy covering something else at a different track, Phil and the team were kind enough to install the new recorder, not quite as on top of the exhaust as it was at Mid-Ohio, and that's what you have here to listen to. And even with the recording input turned down to almost nothing again, whoo, boy, we came close to just another wall of sound that you could barely hear through. So it's interesting here, boy, when this motor starts to rev up, it goes from a snarl to just an explosion of sound and power. That part's cool. You also hear a little bit of the natural harmonics going on in the chassis at the higher RPMs. That's what we have for you here. I love it. This, to me, this is basically a year in the making of trying to get this captured and to be able to present it to you. So I'm so thankful to Porsche North America, the Porsche GT Team, Core Autosport, Phil, everybody there who made this happen, Aaron from their PR staff, just good folks trying to do good things, realizing that they've got something awesome, and they wanted to make sure that they could share it with you as well. All right, we'll be back right after this. PNC is proud to sponsor Scott Dixon, driver of the number 9 car for Chip Ganassi Racing. Everyone tunes in on race day, but so much of the race is determined off camera during the work put in throughout the week, month, and year. From the gym to the practice track, Scott Dixon and the team take small steps every day to get closer to victory lane. Copyright 2018, the PNC Financial Services Group Incorporated. All rights reserved. PNC Bank, National Association, member FDIC. You can get the Marshall Pruitt Podcast on iTunes, on Podbean, on Spotify. We also post everything the moment it goes up on our Facebook page, the Marshall Pruitt Podcast. So if you would kindly subscribe to one or all, I tell you, it'll be a wonderful thing. All right, off we go with Earl Bamber, Lawrence Vanthoor, the best-sounding motor racing engine on planet Earth at Virginia International Raceway, part of IMSA's WeatherTech weekend, the Michelin GT Challenge at VIR. PNC is proud to sponsor Scott Dixon, driver of the number 9 car for Chip Ganassi Racing. Scott knows that the road to victory lane starts today. Copyright 2018, the PNC Financial Services Group Incorporated. All rights reserved. PNC Bank, National Association, member FDIC. I love it. I'm serious. I just love it. Okay, I'm an idiot. Whatever. Blah blah blah. Motor racing sounds, ambient audio, in-car audio. These are things that just make my little heart palpitate. And so I'm super fortunate. I have the best job in the world. My wife is the most incredible human being I have ever met. I get to go to motor racing circuits as a reporter, as a photographer, as a videographer, as a broadcaster sometimes, and do all kinds of amazing things. Something like this, though, I don't know why. I absolutely embrace my peculiarities, but in-car audio, in-tail audio, which is more accurate, of a Porsche 911 RSR, it's life. It's absolutely life. So, if you share in my little peculiarity, I hope you really, really like this, and I hope that you play it a lot and make yourself as happy as I am, having only listened to it once or twice now. But I can guarantee you that there are many more listens coming. All right. I'm Marshall Pruitt. This is a Marshall Pruitt podcast presented by Cooper Tires, supported by PNC Bank. Thank you for listening.